Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're actually on the Discord for now. This is the Sinking Sim Discord. This video is about the Materials Remastered Edition mod, also known as the MRE. So without further ado, we're going to get straight into it and go to the mods downloads page. And I'll leave a link in the description, but if you're in the Discord and you're interested in the mods downloads, Materials Remastered Edition. This is the Google Drive. When you open it up, you'll be greeted by two folders, the Emery Shipyard and the Emery Toy Box, the materials.json if you want to mod any game, the palette, which is probably the most important thing, and then the actual game itself. So, if you want to download the mod, all you've got to do is right click and download. It will say scanning for viruses for quite a while, but trust me, that's normal. Just leave it be and it will do its thing. We're going to go straight into it and have a look at the palette. Now, you can't really see it here. If we zoom in, this is the palette, and it has a lot of colours. The Materials Remastered Edition was made by 3 people, CPM, Noma David, and Marble, which is my old name. I'm now Reno. You see the game just started to download, so I'm going to cancel it because I've already got the game. So it was made by CPM, Noma David, and Reno. I still need to update that. There's a blank space down here to build ships, but you can also, of course, just expand the canvas if you want. So starting at the top, you can see all the different colours. At the top, you've got red, brown, orange, yellow, light green, dark green, aquamarine, light blue, dark blue, purple, pink, grey, black, rotted, natural, and then the name. And then the type, so like the class. So this is metals, this is fictional metals, this is plastics, this is woods, this is coloured non-metals, these are all the different masses, these are grounded sky, these are ropes and cables, these are minerals and miscellaneous, these are natural earth gemstones, and these are the double bottom holes. I'm going to go through all of these one by one, but yeah, let's start first at the metals. So all the different colours, that's pretty self-explanatory. Right, so rotted. This is basically just natural, but darker, or whatever the rotted metal equivalent looks like, or the wood or whatever. And it's in game. It weighs less, and it's significantly weaker. So if you wanted to build a ship, let's say out of rotted copper, it will break really easily. It will float quite high in the water, and it will generally just be really weak. It might even snap in waves, for example. And that's how weak rotted versions are. And rotted is if you want to recreate things like rust. So if we go down, you can see there's different types of rust, all the way down to like galvanized steel. Those are all the different rusts that actually look similar to rust. And yeah, so that's the metals. You can just see that for yourself. There's quite a lot of them. Just for comparison, I'm going to get the palette from Alpha 3, the vanilla one. Copy it. No, that's the wrong button. Copy it. Let's expand this a bit. That's it. That is the whole palette for Alpha 3, and then that is the MRE palette. And you see, it's quite impressive. But this also means that you could easily get lost in the materials, which is why I'm making this video, to explain what everything is, what everything does, and how to navigate it. So you can scroll down, the categories on the side, like I said, colours are on the top, the name is at the top right. Next, onto fictional metals. These are essentially just our names onto metals. So seponinium, nomanium, marbellium. I want to change that to like renoium or something. And these all have properties that we wanted them to have. So marbellium, I wanted it to be purple. Noma David wanted his to be red, like a crimson colour. CPM wanted his to be like a light blue. And they've all got their own properties, strengths, weights, etc. So that's fictional metals. Plastics, again, quite a small category. It's got 5 plastics, so quite a wide range. These are generally very light, quite strong relative to the woods, but still not as strong as the metals. Of course, it depends on the metal. and very, very light colours as well. So this is if you want to make clear things like plastic bottles or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, that's plastic. Next up is woods. Woods is the second largest category. There is a lot of woods. There is, I'm going to go through them all because, well, it's not like the metals where you can just, it's too much. So we've got oak, ash, birch, palm, redwood, balsa, plywood, mahogany, walnut, maple, pine, spruce. So yeah, that's all the woods. You see they've got different wood colour. The rotted is basically just rotted wood. Yeah, I quite like the woods to make lifeboats or piers or whatever. That's woods. Coloured non-metals. Now, the reason these aren't in miscellaneous and minerals is because we wanted these specific ones to have all the different colours. So carbon fibre, you got rotted, black, grey, etc. Stone, brick, neon, wire, and concrete. And we didn't really want these ones to have all the different colours since it didn't make much sense. So that's coloured non-metals. Natural earth gemstones, these are all whole, and they're just, well, they're gemstones. Mass is, okay, so mass, this is if you want to weigh down your ship, if it's too heavy in the water or it's listing to one side, like the stern or the bow. The mass is there, it's a heavy material, it's in all the different colours, but we didn't put it in coloured non-metals because, well, it would just make sense to fill this empty gap. So that's mass. Minerals and miscellaneous, these are just general items that we couldn't fit into the general palette, but we wanted in game, so fossil, granite, marble, some of these are quite silly, like fish and foliage. But I say the ones I use the most are probably these 9, as well as glass, sulfur, and sandstone and silicon. Just because the colours are good for things like cargo or whatever. And then slate's quite a nice colour as well. Like it's a metal, but not really. Like it looks like a metal colour, so you can sort of pass it off as a metal. Ground. Now, ground is essentially just if you want to make the bumpy seabed in Alpha 3. And it doesn't move, it doesn't sink, it doesn't float, whatever. It's literally just the seabed. 2 different shades of sky here. One for the day mod and one for the night mod. I always use the day mod. I just don't like the night mod, since it looks nice in game, but it's a pain to change the sky colour for every ship. Ropes and cables. These are just ropes. So in the original palette you had, let's go to the top, you had rope, and that was it. It was just pure black. It was rope. So now we've got all of these different ropes and cables. You can see copper, nickel, most of the metals that would make sense to be a rope or a cable. Linen, silk, cotton, woven, plastic, nylon, bungee wool, wood fibre, wire, you know, stuff like that. And the last thing is the double bottom holes, and these are just 3 different shades of a material, so copper, green, red and blue. We chose red, green and blue because it's the 3 most common colours you'd see on the bottom of a ship or under the waterline. Double bottoms usually go on the bottom of the ship. It's the keel. It's the double bottom. It's what the ship is built on. So it's the strongest part. It's also the heaviest part. So the difference between these and their normal counterparts is they're heavier, they're much stronger, and they've got quite a darker shade. So that's the double bottoms. You'll usually want to put them on the bottom of your ship as like a keel. And if you really want to go overboard, no pun intended, you can have a glass double bottom, you can have a brick double bottom, you can have a cardboard double bottom. 'Cause why not? A lot of this mod is just 'cause why not? You've got the freedom to make whatever you want, literally. You could make a tree for all I care, you know? That's the whole point of the MRE. You're quite limited here. The colours are nice, but you're quite limited in what you can choose. But with the MRE, you can do whatever you want. The MRE does work with Alpha 2, Alpha 3, and when Alpha 4 comes out, it will also work with Alpha 4. It doesn't work with Sinking Sim 1 or any of those versions, I believe, which is a shame, but I mean, nobody really plays them anymore, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so that is the MRE palette. Another thing about the MRE is it was designed to rework the strengths and physics, well not physics, but like the strengths and weights of every single material to make it more realistic. So if you open up the game, you won't notice it, but it's all in the code. Every material is slightly stronger, heavier, and than its vanilla counterpart, and that is basically to prevent stuff like, I mean, it still happens, but now breakages happen a lot cooler. I mean, look at that, that's quite cool. And when ships strike the seabed, you see the double bottom at the bottom buckling there, separating from the rest of the hull. When ships strike the seabed, you see the double bottom starts to crack, but it doesn't falter, so cracks start to appear. And these are just subtle changes that can really affect how the game works and how wreckages hit the bottom. And it looks a lot better, I think. I mean, it's a very subtle change. It really isn't much, but it does make a large difference. And you can see the double bottom there in loads of different pieces. That is pretty much the MRE. Oh yeah, one last thing. When you download the 2 folders, or you can just access them from the Google Drive, the MRE Shipyard. Now, these are pretty self-explanatory. The Shipyard is ships. It's just ships. Loads of ships that people from all different parts of the Discord have made for the MRE. Different people. This was made by Noma David, really nice ship. This was made by High Mountain Guy, again, very nice ship. This was made by Astiyu, again, very nice ship. And you see the point. So, different people make different things. CPM made this submarine, which looks awesome. And yeah, so that's the MRE Shipyard. Loads of different ships from different people. The toy box is essentially anything which isn't a ship. So it's very miscellaneous. So you got a bus, the battle bus. Oh god. You've got a car which I made from Initial D. You've got the TARDIS. I mean, it can literally just be anything. There's lots of planes that I made at one point. A weight experiment, so you flood it with water and see how it fares. A World War 1 Centenary medallion. You know, whatever. If it's anything, it will go in the shipyard or the toy box. And that's basically the MRE. You use the palette in the same way. If you see my tutorial, I'll leave a link to that below. You'll know how the palette works and how to use it, how hull works and how non-hull works. And yeah, that is basically the MRE. It's very simple to download. You literally just download the jar and you can run the game from download. You don't have to mod anything, you don't have to go into code, unlike previous mods, which I really like. And it's a very large palette with a lot of materials to choose from. The strength and weight is reworked to look slightly better in game, basically. And yeah, it works for Alpha 2, Alpha 3 and Alpha 4 when that comes out. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you didn't, tell me why in the comments below. I'm Reno, and I'll see you next time.